All right, guys. Excuse me. Welcome to Press X Podcast, episode 72. Thank you guys for waiting patiently. Had to start the credits roll just a little bit earlier than normal. Wanted to make sure it was working. I had a little credits roll going there. JDTV, you said your name is wrong in the credits. Oh, my bad, dude. There's a space between JD and TV. There wasn't a space? I'll correct that next time. I'll have to try to keep that in mind. I apologize, man. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard. This is an Xbox podcast now, everybody. It's an Xbox podcast because one of the topics we're going to be discussing has to do with Halo Infinite. So obviously, we are now an Xbox podcast, full-time Press X podcast. There's a reason why I called it Press X podcast and not Press Cross, because I knew the day was going to come. I'm like, you know what? We're going to have to switch this to an Xbox podcast. That's what's happening. Obviously, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's one of the topics we are going to be discussing today. I don't, people I think assume that I'm going to just be ultra toxic about it because it's not great news for Xbox, at least for Halo, but that's not really what's going to be happening anyway. I mean, we're going to have to be critical, of course, but in general, we do have some things to talk about here. Halo is just one of those things. Guys, do me a favor. For those who do enjoy this podcast and you do enjoy the content on the channel, things have been slow lately, man. I'm sure you all know this. We're still just kind of waiting, hanging in there. Do me a big favor, please hit the like button. Do me a favor. If you're watching after the fact, hit the like button. It definitely helps. But yeah, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the topics that we're going to be discussing in this podcast. Let me see. Let me bring it up here. So before I do that, I want to give a member shout out. We have the Play Has No Limits Plus tier. Really appreciate you guys continuing to support me week over week. Obviously, this is the highest tier. If you want to become a member and help out the channel and support it directly, feel free to do so. Big shout out to Junior Jackson, Samuel Payne, Josh Z, Agile Ice 24, KB, Anthony Ramos, Skin Tight Salmon, PlayStation Pete, Clorian Caploni, S, and Ray RU46 and to Lopez. Thank you guys. We also have the Play Has No Limits tier, which is the second highest tier. So I obviously appreciate you guys being members. So shout out to Adrian D, AWS Asher, Zanakand Blitzer, Ivanol Kachofel, Fake Manbear Pig, Avengers Endgame, Space Gambler Jr., Icyler 18, Lion City Pride Lord Escanor, AJ Saeed, Rune Gasoden, JDTV, Quantum Stardust, Sir Speaks a Lot, A Shorty Faye, Ryan Butcher, Big Norman 0518, Whiskey Gaming, Shaky Shako, Tyson Webb 509, Black Manta 1989, Sane JT, Brandon Chad Perez, and Adrian Lupton. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all you do for me here on the channel. But some of the topics that we're going to be discussing today, the first topic is I want to talk about some of the improvements that the PlayStation 5 is currently seeing and will see with the upcoming update. I feel like this is something I haven't really talked about too much. There's, kind of a big deal being made about the save transfers. This is something that Sony fixed, which is obviously very welcome because I think people were underestimating how cumbersome it was actually going to be with the whole process. It's not the worst thing in the world, but people just expect it to be simpler. It seems that Sony did fix that. And I also just want to talk about some of the features and user interface features, or just the UI features in general with the PS5 that are going to be updated, because there were some things that I did mention before, but I guess it just didn't really click in my head oh wait, that's actually kind of a big deal. They're making some pretty significant changes. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to have to talk about the blue box thing just to kind of wrap it up once again here with the podcast. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm sure you do. This podcast kind of is like a weekly wrap up of stuff that we didn't really cover, or just a kind of, just a reminder. And so essentially I just want to let everybody know that this whole situation is pretty much ended. It's pretty much over at this point. Blue Box has attempted to clear everything up. Whether or not they actually did a good job at that, well, we're going to have to talk about that. Gentleman Gamer, you're saying you thought this was a PlayStation channel. What's leading you to believe it's not is what I'm a little confused about. Let me know. But let me see. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some of the rumored games that PlayStation is apparently bringing back. There's like classics and whatnot. So we're looking at potentially Twisted Metal, Sly Cooper, Wipeout. And on top of that, we got to talk a little bit. I want to talk more about this FromSoftware game that's apparently rumored. I think we have just a little bit of evidence that popped up recently that lets us know. I think that, yeah, the relationship between Sony and FromSoftware and maybe even Kojima Productions is going to continue going forward. We're going to talk a little bit about Halo, like I said. We're also going to talk about the idea of a Last of Us Battle Royale. Is that something you guys would is that something you guys would be excited about? A Last of Us Battle Royale. Obviously, we don't know if that's going to happen, but there was some evidence recently that came out that says that was something they were working on. Maybe they scrapped it. Maybe it'll be part of the Last of Us multiplayer game. And then at the end, if we have time, I want to talk just a little bit about Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, what we think about it. For those of us who are playing it on PS5, does it feel like the upgrade was worth the asking price? Is it substantial enough? And in general, how is the expansion? I want to talk a little bit about this stuff. So, yeah, with that being said, we are going to dive into the first topic, which is focusing on some of the major improvements and updates with the PlayStation 5. So for anybody who did purchase Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, you'll know that essentially Sony, that is, they updated the SDK for the PlayStation 5, and they made it so that developers can now make it as simple as just pressing a couple of buttons to transfer your saves. This is not something we can spend too much time talking about, but I guess I just kind of want to ask you guys, like, for those of you who, I guess, did do the more cumbersome, complicated process of having to transfer your saves and whatnot before Sony fixed it, compared to if you did it with Ghost of Tsushima, how big of a difference is it? From what I've seen, apparently Sony has almost matched what Xbox is doing with smart delivery, where it's pretty much you press like just two buttons on the controller and then that's it. It just works, and I just think that this is interesting because this is where you do see the competitive nature, as I've continued to say over and over again here on the channel for years now, is that you always want to see the competition. I understand that at first maybe some PlayStation fans were like, oh, smart delivery, I don't know about that. That just seems like a gimmick. It seems like a marketing thing. And I actually thought the same thing as well, because I'm like, it kind of sounds like it is, right? And then these consoles launch, and then we find out, well, Sony doesn't have something like smart delivery. And then to actually, that their process is a bit more complicated. And some people are like, Sony, come on, like this should be easier to do, right? So they come out here and they're like, here you go. We are pretty much going to match smart delivery, or, get as close to it as we can. And it seems that people are happy about that. And I feel like this just highlights something important when it comes to PlayStation in general, which is, they are taking feedback. And that's, I think, the general theme of this topic that I wanted to discuss. I feel like Sony has to continue to listen to feedback. And I think people were a little bit worried. They're like, well, does Sony even care? Are they going to do this stuff? Like, one of the biggest complaints that people had, a lot of like hardcore PlayStation fans, trophy hunters, they're like, Sony, what did you do with the trophy list? Making it horizontal and just, it was perfect on PlayStation 4. Why did you change it? Why did you change it this dramatically? And again, this is kind of something that we heard with the latest update that is still in beta. We're going to have to wait to find out when it's going to be released publicly. But essentially, they're like, yeah, we're gonna change it back. We're gonna go back to the vertical style trophy list. And I feel like that's the smart thing to do, right? Like, I feel like that's what we should be going back to. I feel like I've gotten used to the horizontal list that the PlayStation 5 offers, but there's no doubt that when I look back and I think about playing on PS4 and having that vertical list, how much more convenient it actually was. It's nice to know that Sony's going to go back to that. And so, this is kind of what we're starting to see now that the PS5 has been out for a little while now. Sony has been taking this feedback and they are making some changes. They are doing things and improving. There were a lot of people who were complaining that the PS5 released too soon. The thing is, I don't know that the PS5 released too soon. I just think that Sony genuinely, or at least some of the engineers at Sony or some of the people over there who were responsible for creating the user experience and whatnot, I feel like they genuinely we're going to just, completely overhaul this and uproot it and change it. And then, with, that the saying goes if it's not broke, don't fix it. I feel like that's kind of what Sony did, where they're the PS4 UI in a lot of ways was pretty much close to perfection, and they spent the entire PS4 generation just improving it and doing what they could to refine it. And it got, as I said, pretty close to perfection, other than it kind of becoming slower over time. And it just seems like with the PS5, they're let's just completely revamp everything. And I thought, honestly, I like that. I do appreciate that, because it's don't get stagnant. Don't just do the same thing. But I feel like in some cases, with the trophies specifically, it's let's go back to the way it was, because I think that the way that you had it before, it's pretty much perfect. You know what I mean? He's saying, MBG, did you hear you can now play PS1 games on Xbox with 4K 60 FPS? I mean, that's pretty awesome, I guess, but I don't know. I guess some people, I don't know. That's disturbing to think about, not actually, because it's why doesn't Sony put that on the PlayStation 5? Right? If you want to have the best PlayStation 1 experience, don't buy a PlayStation console. Siler saying, Mr. MBG, where's my Sony event? And Abby and multiplayer DLC for The Last of Us, LOL. Also loving Ghost expansion right now, and of course it's getting review bombed on Metacritic. Oh, of course it is. Why wouldn't it? We'll talk about that later on, Siler. As for the Sony event, I don't know, man. I don't know. Joshua, you're saying rip Joey Jordison. Play some blast beats tonight. Yeah, definitely sad to hear about his passing, man. Seemed kind of out of nowhere, but very unfortunate. But, he'll always be remembered with the music he made. Siler, though, just to kind of shift gears for a second here, maybe we should talk about this. I feel like we should talk about this, because how can we not talk about it? Is Sony messing up right now? I feel like we have to ask this question. We really do. Because I'll tell you right now, man, I have an audience of PlayStation fans. A lot of people who are subscribed to my channel or watch my content, they do have PS5s. They invested in PS5s. And people are really getting to a point. Fans are really getting to a point with PlayStation where it's Sony, if at the very least, if you're not going to do something, if you're not going to have an event, if you're not going to, you know what I mean? Let us know. Just let us know. Put us out of our misery, And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm starting to feel it, I'm starting to feel I guess this is it. But at the same time, it's I could be giving up too soon. We do have to understand that summer, technically speaking, summer is until pretty much the third week of September. So, I can't sit here and be well, that's it. Sony's not doing anything. I don't know if they're doing anything. What I do know is I would really like it if they could do something soon. I really would, because it feels like things have just become very, yeah, we got Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and I'm loving it. I had a great year with PlayStation games so far, but the year's far from over, And I guess I want to see more Horizon, man. I want to know what's going on with Horizon. Yeah, I want to see God of War. I want to know, Herman Holst, I covered his interview yesterday Herman comes out for the second time this year. Like 4 months later, like, we have 25 plus games in development. Like, I appreciate you letting us know that, Herman, but my God, man, how many times, like, you gotta show it at some point. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you can't just keep coming out and be like, we got 25 games. We got 20. Like, you gotta show some of the games. You know? It's at that point now. Sir Speaks a Lot. You're saying MBG promised feet pics at 2K subs, now at 100K. I'm not at 100K yet. He has yet to deliver. I demand a mutiny. We must cut off his legs and take his feet for ourselves. Once again, Sir Speaks a Lot. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. MBG, you're saying Jeff Keighley said PlayStation will be at Gamescom? Can you follow that up, please, and let me know where he said that? Because I specifically looked into that, and as far as I know, PlayStation is not involved with Gamescom at all. So if you could refer me to where, like, did he say that on Twitter? Does it say it on the official website? He had a stream last night. Really? Is this true? Because now I'm curious. How could that be, though? Like, they're not listed as their partners. Yeah, maybe he's talking about some of their... Well, so Konami is going to be at Gamescom. Okay? Konami's going to be at Gamescom. And, you know, there's been just, again... so many rumors about Sony and Konami, right? So I don't know. Maybe something could be announced there, but I don't know, man. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If Sony got some kind of deal with Konami where it's like, we're bringing MGS back or whatever, right? Or whatever it could be, I don't think Sony's going to be like, okay, Konami, you reveal it at a Gamescom. Like, no, that's something Sony's going to be like, let us handle the reveal. You know what I mean? You know what? What was interesting is with Blue Box, talking about them for just a second, and Hassan Karaman, he said, dude, in one of his interviews that came out this past week, he was like, oh, we might be at Gamescom. We don't know. We don't want to give ourselves a tight deadline. So, I don't know, dude. I don't know. But, am I going to stream the Xbox event this Tuesday? Is there an Xbox event this Tuesday? Really? I mean, I know Xbox is going to be part of Gamescom. They're having an event. I thought, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought that the event, whatever this Xbox thing is, I thought it was just kind of a recap of some of the other games they already announced. Like, it's not, like, they're not going to be announcing anything new. I could be wrong. I could have swore that's what I read, though. Black Manta 1989, you're saying, unfortunately, a lot of Sony fans are going to be content about potentially not having an event for 2021, but they better talk next year or else. Well, man, look, I'm not saying, like, I'm a content. I need to acknowledge there's an inherent disconnect between me and, you know, like, just PlayStation fans who are not creating PlayStation content. I feel like I need to make it known that because I create PlayStation content, because I follow the news, and obviously on my channel, I have a large audience that are PlayStation fans. I always want to be like, all right, guys, what's the next exciting thing for PlayStation? What's happening? And at times like this, when it's like, nothing's happening. You know what I mean? Like Ghost of Tsushima again, which is fine. But outside of that, it's like pretty much nothing. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing really else going on. So for me, I have a great desire. Like, I really want Sony to do their event. You know, it feels like it's been too long, and I want to see them talk more about the games that they have in development. But what I also understand is that not everybody's going to feel that way, because I have to ask myself, would I really be feeling that way or as strongly about that if I wasn't a content creator, if I didn't need to rely on Sony to talk about the stuff and show stuff? Would it feel much easier to be much more patient and be like, well, you know, if Sony doesn't do an event until December, then no big deal. You know, I'm just going to play the games that they release. I feel like, yeah, I probably wouldn't be as, you know, I would reflect on what they released this past year so far, what they're releasing for the remainder of the year, and be like, Okay, yeah. But even then, I still kind of feel like, just as a gamer, just as somebody who follows this stuff, it's like, well, Xbox had their big E3, and then Sony had a big event last year. So it's like, I just feel like, Sony, you got to do something this year. I just can't. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be brutal right now. That state of play that we got last month, that's not going to cut it. It's fine. It's fine for what it is, but it's not going to cut it. It's just not. And so it's like, come on, Herman. You're going to come out here and be like, we got 25 games. We have a bunch of unannounced games. When you're going to announce them, bro? I feel like you're teasing me, man. I feel like you're teasing me. It's torturous, right? Xbox fanboys are having a field day right now because they're like, PlayStation fans getting their hopes up for Abandoned and getting crushed. Xbox is out here killing it, having an event, announcing all these games. They got Halo, they got Forza. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, guys. Like, as I said, Xbox has been doing a good job this year. Sony, I'm going to be real. Sony is the one delivering games consistently. They have been. But when it comes to exciting announcements, it's been very quiet right now. So we can't really, let me see. AO Theo, you're saying Jeff said that there will be 6 world premieres. Really? I feel like that's not a lot. I feel like that's significantly less than normal. I could be wrong. I can't really remember what Gamescom was like last year. I could be wrong about that. Primal Plasma, you're saying, watch the Anya video about Abandoned. He shows Jeff Keighley being asked about Abandoned. Watch his eye movements. He is lying about not knowing. Look, I feel like all I can say to that, man, is I told you guys. Jeff Keighley, to me, is out of everybody, is the most suspect, or one of the most, because whether you believe or not, he literally said in a Q&A on Twitter back in June when he was asked about this, and I'm not going to say that, oh, this means something for sure. It might not have been. He might have just been just as excited as we are, thinking, oh, maybe this is something big and cool that he didn't know about. But it's like the idea of Jeff Keighley not knowing. It's like, you're Jeff Keighley, man. Like, you really have no idea what this is. It's a possibility. But he said, word for word, he said, I think Hassan's going to need help revealing his game later this summer. You know what I mean? And it's like, he just said it so casually. Like, did you talk to him about this? Did you guys plan something? Did you plan some type of reveal? Like, I just don't know how you say that. And then the next time you talk about it, you're like, oh, I don't know what this is. We're just going to have to watch it together and see what happens. It's like, I don't know, man. Maybe Jeff also got kind of caught up in it, and he's like, oh, I think this might be something big. And then he kind of like found out, like, oh, like this isn't anything at all. The truth is, I don't know exactly how in the know somebody like Jeff Keighley is. People were telling me, like, dude, this is the same guy who, when he was participating in a documentary about the death of Half-Life, he simultaneously knew that Half-Life Alyx was in development. You know what I mean? But he kept it quiet. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, so clearly he knows stuff, right? I don't know. I do not know. iSiler18, thank you so much for the generous donation, buddy. You're saying Horizon situation is weird. Sony would have already confirmed its delay a long time ago, and there's enough gameplay for God of War, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7 Part 2, and maybe even Spider-Man to show us, excuse me, your thing is cut off here, to show us an event. I am annoyed at this point. Well, my whole thing is this, is like, it's a matter of timing, right? And for me, I have to try my best to view it from all different angles. What I mean by that is, I'm the gamer, I'm the PlayStation fan, and I'm also the content creator on YouTube that covers PlayStation. So absolutely, for me, it feels like the time came and went. Like, it's already passed. You know what I mean? Where it's like, Sony, you should have done something at this point, and they haven't. But I also have to think, what if Sony, like, let's talk about this for a second. What if, and I just want to also acknowledge this. I see people who always like comment me and are like, man, like, you need to stop talking about when Sony's going to do an event. Like, what else am I supposed to talk about? Like, I'm serious. Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just say, well, when Sony does what they want to do, they'll do it, and that's it? Because I can't say anything else. You know what I mean? So the reason why I talk about this is because all I'm left to do saying play games, dude. I only podcast for a couple of hours. What do you think I'm doing throughout the rest of my day? Not all day, but you think I'm not playing games? Of course I am. Unless you meant maybe play games on my channel, which, yeah, I get that. I get that. That's a fair point if that's what you're saying. I guess it's just because it feels like this whole abandoned thing, it started to feel like a big tease to something bigger. And I guess it just didn't help the whole situation where it's like I was already expecting an event in June, we didn't get it, and then I was expecting it in July, and then we didn't get it, and now we're in August, and I'm expecting it, and then we have all these things happening with Abandon, and I'm like, well, like, so nothing. We're just not. It's not leading to anything. Nothing. Like, just nothing's happening, right? I don't believe it. But when I say I have to view it from different angles, what I mean by that is, let's just say Sony did decide we're not having an event until December because we're bringing back PlayStation Experience. And the reason why we're going to do December is because we're going to have a massive 2022. And it's also going to give our developers more time to get everything ready and our partners to get everything ready in a timely manner to show something off. I would be fine with that. I would actually be very excited about that. If Sony's like, look, we are going to have a colossal PlayStation Experience event. We're bringing it back. And maybe that's how Sony will do it going forward, where they're not going to do summer events. Instead, they'll just have state of plays, but then they're going to have their big yearly event at the end of the year to kind of kickstart the year. You know what I mean? I could see them doing that because, Siler, what you're saying is, yeah, Sony, it's pretty clear. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know they have a lot of stuff in their arsenal right now that they probably have been ready to show off. You know what I mean? That they're getting ready to show off. So it's like they're going to have to talk at some point. They're going to have to show new stuff at some point. We just have no clue when. It feels like that time was supposed to be now or last month or, maybe it'll be in September. But that's the only thing I can think to myself is like, if there's going to be a big PlayStation event in 2021, to me, it seems likely at this point that it's probably going to be PlayStation Experience. I think some people forgot, but back in June, in early June, Sony, they actually renewed the PlayStation Experience trademark. And the only reason they would want to do that is because they plan to use it again. When does Sony do PlayStation Experience? Do they do it in September? No. Do they do it in summer? No, they don't. When do they do it? They do it in December. That's how they do it. Every year. Every time. So, I guess it's just, I also don't want to say like definitively that they're doing a PlayStation Experience. They might not be. All right. I'm just saying that like if they're going to do like a full-blown event this year like people want, that's probably when and where it'll happen. Yogesh, you're saying Xbox will give updates. Obsidian director tweeted he is playing Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. Maybe Avowed gameplay at Gamescom. MBG podcast skills. OP. Thank you, man. Yeah, that would definitely be a big deal if they're just like, hey, we're gonna show you Avowed now. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Xbox already did so much this year in terms of like reveals and stuff. It's like, do they really have more? They could. They could. I don't know. I might stream. Can somebody tell me when the event is? When is this Xbox event? Maybe I can stream it, I don't see any harm in it. Okay, it's Tuesday, 10 a.m. Okay. I'll look into it. So it'll be Tuesday. Yeah, maybe and then opening night live for Gamescom, I think, is the 25th. So that's Wednesday, right? Yeah, okay. Well, the truth is, guys, when it comes to what Sony's going to do next. I mean, it feels like I'm going to be totally honest right now. It almost feels like it's completely pointless at this point in time to try to gauge what Sony's going to do, because I really don't know. I mean, if I continue to give my best guesses, and every time I do that, it just nothing happens. And I feel like maybe I'm doing the same thing here, where I'm like, it's going to be December. I mean, look, everybody wants to tell me Jeff Grubb's, not you guys, I know you, not you guys, but the industry, like gaming outlets, press outlets, other people on the internet, they all want to tell me, dude, Jeff Grubb is reliable. And, Jeff Grubb said September, Sony's doing something. So I was, okay, I'm desperate at this point, man. I am desperate. I'm not going to lie about that. Like, I'm desperate for Sony to do something. So it's like, come on, September. Why did I change my profile picture? I just wanted to, I didn't even think anybody would notice. Like, it's not really, some people are like, oh my God, there's like some kind of big meaning. There's really not. I just wanted to go with a simpler, cleaner, black and white, theme. It's kind of like the PS5 theme, you know what I mean? Black and white, two-tone. That's all it is. Why are you desperate? That is so idiotic. Like, what's idiotic about it though? Like, that's what I don't get, man. Like, it's not idiotic. I'm a PlayStation content creator, and I cover PlayStation news. I cover events. See, this is where it becomes impossible, because like then PlayStation fans are like, shut up, MBG. It's like, guys, I'm not doing the console war thing, but I'm also trying to talk about how I really feel about PlayStation. You know what I mean? Like, I was hard on Xbox. I'm going to be a little bit hard on PlayStation here, where it's like, look, PlayStation has absolutely killed it. They killed it at the launch of PlayStation 5. They killed it for the first half of 2021. And honestly, the second half isn't looking that bad. It's definitely looking drier. But Sony's going to have a lot of third-party games to carry them. But what I mean is, like, Sony needs to... So it's like that interview with Herman Hulst, right? I just don't like that Sony essentially, they just don't care about communicating the way they used to with their fan base. And I've been on the fence with that idea for a long time. Where it's like, well, maybe we're being too hard on Sony, like Sony's, and it's just a matter of I think Sony, and I'm just going to be honest right now, I think they need some better, like, people. I don't know, you're not going to replace Herman Hulst or Jim Ryan, but they need a personality. You know what I mean? Like, they really do. That's why so many people look back so fondly in the PS4 generation, because like you had Shuei Yoshida at the forefront. You had, in the beginning, it was like they had Adam Boyce, Jack Trenton. Who was the other guy? Andrew House, Sean Layden, and like all these guys, like they were always talking, they were always engaging, they were all, you know what I mean? Like they were always just kind of right there. And I feel like with people like Jim Ryan, and like, here's what bothers me. I covered that entire interview with Herman Hulst, and he literally just repeated everything he said 5 months ago. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, I like a lot of what you're saying, and I appreciate that he tackled the crunch conversation and all that. But it's like, you're literally just repeating the same lines that you said 5 months ago, and you're doing it during a time when PlayStation fans are out here asking, like, what's next? What are you guys doing next? And you know what I mean? It comes off as a little bit like, well, at the very least, maybe I think PlayStation fans would have appreciated if Herman could have said, look, we know we've been, pretty quiet lately, but we have more we're going to be talking about soon, right? I feel like this is where Xbox, throughout the year, they've gotten pretty quiet lately too, but they always kind of like tease their fans a little bit. Like they always make it sound like we're going to have something, right? We're going to have something. Granted, sometimes it can be a little underwhelming, but I don't know. I'm not trying to, I think people just confuse where it's like, I'm not saying Sony isn't making games and that their games aren't good. I'm not saying Sony hasn't been doing a good job with the PS5 and the rollout of it, right? I'm not saying Sony hasn't been delivering. I'm just simply saying that the one area where it's really starting to feel like they're just kind of like they're just there's a whole lot of nothingness is just their communication, and they can do it how they want. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The truth is, PlayStation's still absolutely killing it. So it's not like me sitting here saying, Sony, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to run Sony. I'm not going to run PlayStation. I don't know what's best for them, but I guess I'm just speaking purely as a fan, as somebody who bought the PS5. Like, I want to know, like, Sony, the time is now. Like, I want to know what the hell is next, man, because I'm excited. Like, I know you got some great stuff, and I feel like you're just holding out, and I just want to see it, man. I want to see it in all its glory. In the meantime, I just feel like, okay, well, just gotta, keep going. Just gotta keep grinding along, and when they want to do something, they'll do it. But I feel like that interview with Herman Holst, I was just kind of shocked, to be completely honest. I covered it in my video yesterday because I feel like it's necessary. Like, guys, we follow PlayStation. You guys are interested in PlayStation. I'm going to tell you pretty much everything he said in this interview and highlight what I thought was important. It just blows my mind. That's like, Herman, like, bro, you haven't said anything in literally months. And when you finally say something, you're just repeating the same lines that you said. You know what I mean? And like, he's talking again. He's like, Jade Raymond's new studio. I'm like, man, that game is like 5 years away. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I get you're planning for the future, but I don't know. It just felt like bad timing is all I'm trying to say. Strong jawline Herman. You're saying, why do people underestimate PlayStation? It's PlayStation and the quality games are coming. Well, dude, that's the thing is I don't think anybody's underestimating PlayStation. Like Xbox fanboys right now are going in hard on people like me and PlayStation fans because they can. Because what am I supposed to say? Like, you just wait. Well, yeah, like, just wait, because once Sony comes out, when they wake up and they're like, we're going to show you God of War. Dude, it's over. You know what I mean? It's over. When Sony says, here are some of the surprise announcements that we've been working on and saving, it's over. But we're not there yet. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's that anybody's underestimating I'm not underestimating PlayStation. Dude, PlayStation kills every time, man. And the chance that they're just going to come out here when they do, even if it's at the end of the year, even if it's not till next year, worst case scenario. I mean, come on. Let's cut the bullshit here for a second, okay? I understand that it's like, oh, PlayStation fans are down bad right now because we're waiting for an event. I do need to bring up, do you remember in May? Do I need to remind everybody in May that 15-minute gameplay demo of Horizon Forbidden West? I'm sorry, does Xbox, and I'm not trying to make it a console war thing, I'm just trying to silence those who keep coming at me for some reason. Does Xbox have anything, and I'm serious, anything that even looks like it's close to that? And do not say Forza Horizon 5. It looks incredible, looks like an amazing game, but that's, let's compare Forza Horizon 5 to GT7. Let's not compare Forza Horizon 5 to Horizon Forbidden West, all right? And I'm just saying that the reason why I can't sit here and turn to these dudes that are always like coming at me on Twitter and everywhere else in my comments, be like, yeah, PlayStation sucks. They don't have anything. Like, okay, yeah, I know. It sucks that Horizons might get delayed, but you know what I mean? I don't know. MBG, your mods are tripping. They put me in timeout. I'm not a kid. What's going on? All right, well, any of my mods, take it easy. Again, like, only put people on timeout who are really, who are really doing some damage here, okay? Let people speak their opinion. And it's a frustrating conundrum. I have to call it a conundrum because it's like, I'm trying to be critical. Well, I'm not trying. I am being critical, with PlayStation, with Sony, where I feel that we need to be critical with them with. In an area where it's like, hey, we would just like to know, like, what's going on with Horizon? We're going to see more. I mean, it's supposed to come out this year. What about God of War? You know, like we saw that a while ago. The different, like here's why I'm not. So when we do see God of War, we had to wait a little bit, right? We had to wait a little. We're gonna have to wait a little bit for God of War, where it was revealed in September of last year. We're probably not going to see gameplay of it till maybe at the end of this year, maybe sometime 2022. It'll probably come out summer 2022, something like that. So that's what, like almost 2 years, right? That we got God of War revealed for the first time, and then we'll probably play it in second half 2022. I feel like, see, this is where I have more faith in PlayStation to deliver, not just because, well, I mean, God of War is going to crush, Horizon Forbidden West is going to crush, but it's kind of like I was super hyped for, yeah, because like, oh, Halo, Forza, like that's great. I was hyped for Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 was revealed in December of 2019. And we just found out a couple of months ago that it's not even in full production yet, which means that game has no chance. That game is not coming out until earliest, probably late 2023, probably 2024. And this is where I'm just like, see, I don't want that from PlayStation. Like, I don't want I know I have to be patient and I'm becoming impatient, but at the very least, I also know, at least I know that with God of War, I'm not going to be having to wait to play that game till 2024. All right. At least I know that. And I don't want Sony to come, and maybe that's why they're not rushing anything, because I don't want Sony to show me, hey, here's a little glimpse of what Sony London is working on, and it looks awesome, whatever it may be, and it's like, oh man, this is going to be sick. And it's like, yeah, it's not in full production yet. It's like, oh, it's probably not going to come out till 2024 or 5. It's like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I really don't want that. But I don't know, man. I feel antsy. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think the reason for this, and people have told me this, they're like, dude, you feel this way because Sony has been feeding you good, man. Like, Sony has been consistently delivering to the point where anytime there's like a quiet period, it feels like, well, what's going on right now? What's happening? This isn't normal. This isn't what Sony does. And that's why. It's because they keep it so consistent. You know, they're always on top doing stuff that when they have that short lull period, you don't know what to do with yourself because you're like, I'm not used to this, you know? And that's true. That is true, man. And I can't help it. Like when I finished Ratchet and Clank, I'm like, all right, on to the next. Now I got Ghost of Tsushima, playing the whole game over again. Loving it so far. Can't wait to dive into the expansion. Going to play the multiplayer again. And when I'm done that, I'm be like, all right, what's next, Sony? You know? Unfortunately, I mean, we got Deathloop. There's Deathloop and Kenna. And I'm going to be good with those two. They're coming out like, you know, back to back. But then after that, for me, that's when it really starts to become like, all right, what's next? You know, because like that's where it gets a little bit uneasy, because it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's after Kenna and Deathloop. I mean, we know Horizon, but like, is that like November, or is that more like March of next year? You know what I mean? I got to get to some of these super chats. I've been letting them go. Creeping Stage, you're saying 2021 is the dry year games operate on a 2-year cycle. 2018, cool. 2019, dry. 2020, awesome. 2021, drier. Yeah, I'm not going to lie too, man. This is where I don't want to be too harsh on Sony, because like, here's the truth, man. Here's the truth. And this is not pony fanboy Sony defense mode. This is just the truth. All right. It's the truth. Sony, during the peak of this global, you know, catastrophe here, when pretty much everything came to a halt, Sony delivered, man. Like, they came out here and were like, not only are we going to launch this console during this time, but we're going to have content. And we're not just going to have a minuscule amount of content. We're going to have a wide variety of content. And we're not going to stop. Going into the next 6 months after that, we're going to keep it going. And that's what Sony did, man. Microsoft didn't do that, period. So it's like, well, people are being like really hard on PlayStation for like, man, the second half of 2021, if Horizon gets delayed, looks terrible for PlayStation. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, can Sony get just a little break here? You know, just a little break. Yeah. I just don't like that, man. I don't like that. It's like Microsoft actually does something for once. And it's like, well, they won. Microsoft did it. It's over now. Like, what are you talking about? What? They're delivering another Halo and Forza? That's great. It's expected. And I'm glad that Microsoft finally, they have a holiday lineup now. Good job. But it's like, I guess that just suddenly means that Sony hasn't done anything and that they just suck. It's like, and I know, it's just a lot of rhetoric, man, and I can't help it. I know people are like, don't get consumed by that. And I'm not trying to, but it's just when things are as quiet as they are right now, like, I'm seeing this crap all over the place, and I'm like, just give it a rest, people, you know? Like, people want to, what they expect is for me to basically say, well, you know what, guys? Sony's not doing an event. Sony's not showing any new games. Sony's not talking about Horizon, so it's over. It's over. The year's over for Sony. Pack it up, go home. PlayStation fans have nothing to look forward to. Oh, and also, Halo is still amazing, by the way. I mean, I know it sucks that it had to get delayed for a year. It's looking good. It's playing good. That's great. Halo fans are feeling good, but campaign co-op, not going to happen. Forge, not going to happen. It's okay, though. Everything's great. Because you know why? The Last of Us 2 was supposed to have multiplayer, and it didn't. So everything's fine. It all cancels each other out. Everything's perfect. It's fine. I'm just saying, like, that's what people, based off of what I'm reading and the response I'm getting, that's what they expect me to say. And I'm just like, all right, sure, fine, I guess. Like, if that's how it has to be, then that's how it has to be. By the way, guys, we have 825 people here. Please do me a favor. Take a second of your time and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you do like the podcast, if you do like the rants and all that stuff, help it out. Just hit the like button. iSalary18, again, you're saying Halo situation kind of proves that freebies / Game Pass / free-to-play model usually guarantees less quality in games. You don't have a $500 million budget for a shooter to release a game in that state. Yeah, dude, see, this is where I'm like, the whole Halo situation, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it just seems so bizarre to me and strange to say, well, remember when The Last of Us 2 was going to have multiplayer, but then they said, actually, we're not going to release it with multiplayer. We're just going to release The Last of Us Part 2 campaign story because it's a complete package, and we're going to make like a multiplayer game. I feel like it's just so bizarre to compare that to Halo Infinite when they say we're not going to have campaign co-op. I understand that inherently you're seeing the removal of features, but are we going to sit here and try to pretend that there's the same expectation put on The Last of Us Part 2 to have multiplayer as there is for Halo to have a co-op campaign? Because to me, that's just where things get a little bit ridiculous, where it's like the expectation just simply isn't the same. It's just not. You know what I mean? And not only that, but I feel like you can't, I don't know. I don't know what to say to people, man. It's like, if you're okay with Halo not having a co-op campaign, you know, and the reason being, and this is where I feel like players just have to decide for themselves. The reason being is they don't have enough time to put it in there. The priority right now is getting the game in a functioning, working, polished state, which is fine and obviously a necessity, but it's because they have to get it ready by holiday 2021. And if they were to start focusing on, hey, we're gonna focus on making sure we have campaign co-op, but it might come at the cost of we have to cut some corners and we don't have enough resources or time or manpower to, in this short period of time, get this game out in 2021. It's like, you got to pick your poison here. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I don't know. It's difficult for me to talk about it because I just see the response of the internet. Like, I don't play Halo, and I never, I don't play campaign Halo and co-op. I don't. So it doesn't matter to me at all. Halo could get canceled, and I'd be like, all right, I don't care. It's not a game I plan to play, but I'm still trying to pay attention to this, and I'm looking at what people are saying, and people are basically like, this is not acceptable. Like this isn't, like, no. And I'm like, well, geez, I guess there were a lot of people who were really looking forward to playing the campaign cooperatively with their friends. But I do see some other people where they're coming to me and they're like, I was just going to play it solo anyway, and just play PvP, so it's fine. And so I guess it's like, the question is it still a complete product? Like, do you still consider it a complete product? And I do have to ask myself, them making the multiplayer free to play, right? Microsoft knowing that this game is going to be accessible through Game Pass, is that why they're like, we're not delaying it again. We're not delaying it again. We're just going to release it. You're going to get the campaign, you're going to get the multiplayer, and you'll get the other features later. You know what? You kind of can rationalize that, right? Like, you can kind of understand, yeah, I guess that's okay, right? Like, I guess that's okay. But I don't know. You can't. This is where people need to understand, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You just can't. You can't. I can't sit here and brag constantly to Sony about, hey, quality, I'll pay full price, and then expect them to not charge me full price or be upset when they're like, well, we're gonna raise the price by $10 then because we're upping the quality. And if that's the standard you expect, then we're gonna have to increase the price. It's like, okay, can't have my cake and eat it too. Can't expect that type of quality and continue to pay less over time, right? That's not how it works. Just like you can't expect to pay the bare minimum for entry and expect everything to be there at once. You can't have your cake and eat it too, people. And this is what I'm saying, like, for all those that I see in the comments and the responses, I see all these people and they're all so pissed off and they're like, this is unacceptable. I'm like, are you guys subscribed to Game Pass? Because if you are, then Microsoft doesn't care. And that's just the truth. Just like Sony doesn't care. Like, am I buying their games at $70? Yeah, then they're not going to lower the price because I'm buying their games at $70. Microsoft doesn't, like, if Microsoft's getting your Game Pass subscription, they're going to sit there and say, you're just, this is good enough. This is good enough. And maybe to a lot of people subscribe to Game Pass, maybe it is. I can't say. But again, this is a matter of, like, is the internet a good measurement? I don't think it is, because I'm telling you right now, the internet, there's so many people on the internet, they're like, Halo, God, they can't get it right. 343 Industry sucks. Microsoft keeps screwing up. But it's like, I'm sure you watch, the game's going to come out and it's going to do just fine. It's going to do just fine. And that's just the way it goes, man. People just don't want to accept that. But that's the truth. As I tried to tell people before, like, if you're going to be all about Game Pass and you're going to just constantly defend Game Pass and tell me how great it is, and you want to tell me how, Game Pass is 100% sustainable for AAA high-quality games, fine, so be it. But you might find that things like this become more of the norm. And again, if you're okay with that, then no problem. No harm, no foul whatsoever. If you're fine with that, be fine with it. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you are somebody who is a Halo fan and you're upset about this news, you got to think to yourself, would this be acceptable if there was no Game Pass and Microsoft is going to be charging $60 or $70 for Halo and that's the only way you could get it? Do you think people would just be like, okay, we'll just wait? No, I don't think so. What I'm trying to say is I'm pretty sure Game Pass is the reason why people really aren't going to be able to, they're not going to have any shots to fire. They're not going to have any shots to fire. You can sit here and you can say, but that's not a complete product. And Microsoft's going to be like, I'm sorry, how much are you paying for it? $10. All right, then. You're going to wait. And that's what it is. And then you're going to have people that are going to come out and they're going to be like, well, that's just fine. Everything's fine. This isn't a problem at all. And maybe not for you, but again, like, I just saw the response and there was I'm going to be real with you guys. I was pissed off when I found out The Last of Us 2 wasn't going to have multiplayer. I was pissed off and I was like, you got to be kidding me. But do you know what softened the blow and what made me feel like, oh, okay then? It's when Naughty Dog told me it's not because we can't get it done in time. And it's not because we're canceling it. It's actually because it grew so big and it's so ambitious, we need to take more time to build it. And it's actually so big and so ambitious, it's basically a whole nother game. And that to me is like, oh, okay, that's fine. You know what I mean? And that's another thing too, is like The Last of Us 2 is The Last of Us in general. Like when you think of The Last of Us, do you think multiplayer? Multiplayer is an integral portion of it. For some people, yeah, but I'm going to say for the overwhelming majority of people, no. When they think of The Last of Us, they think of a story, a hard-hitting narrative, single-player experience. That's what they think of. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, a lot of people, when they think of Halo, they think about playing the campaign with their friends. They think about the co-op aspect. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference there. Where is Factions? It's in development, man. That's where it is. It's in development, and it seems like it's going to be a full-blown AAA multiplayer game. At least it better be, right? See here. And here's one last thing I want to say. Do we feel, I'm not talking about The Last of Us story or anything like that. I'm just asking for the content that is on offer and the quality of that content with The Last of Us Part 2. Do we feel that was worth a $60 purchase? Again, I know that for some people, they're going to say no because they didn't like the story, but just think about from just a value perspective, like what's on offer, how many hours of gameplay, the quality of the content. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say, and I even say this as somebody who didn't really enjoy the story as much as everybody else. Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll tell you right now, when I was done playing The Last of Us 2, I was saying a lot of things. One of the things I wasn't saying was, well, that wasn't worth the money. No, because it was. Like, it was a full, complete product from start to finish. The level of detail, right? Just the amount of stuff that's there. It was all great. And so it's just like, I just feel like this isn't, I don't know. They promised us The Last of Us 2 multiplayer. So here's what I need to say real quick before I read some more of these super chats. I can't figure that out. If memory serves, and please chat. I don't know if I can rely on the chat because people are just going to say what they're going to say. But let me know. If my memory serves, they never promised us the multiplayer. In fact, I don't think they ever really talked about the multiplayer. They certainly did not advertise the game with multiplayer. The expectation was because, well, the first game had multiplayer, so the second one is, and then they had to come out and be like, actually, the second one isn't going to have multiplayer, but here's why. The only thing I genuinely remember is getting that blog post from Naughty Dog where they were like, saying multiplayer was announced afterwards. I don't remember. But still, I feel like, again, it's like they're two different things. It's not like they said, hey, okay, here's a good example. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima has a multiplayer component. That multiplayer component was in development alongside the regular game, but they never said a word about it. Because the reason being is, I'm making an assumption here, but the reason why they never said a word about it is because, well, we don't know if we're going to be able to have this ready at the launch of Ghost of Tsushima. We might need to work on it for a couple weeks or a couple months after to refine it and get it ready. So maybe the idea is, well, we would have liked to have included it with the base game, that being just Ghost of Tsushima, but we know we're not going to be able to make it. So we're not even going to mention it. We're not going to say a word. Instead, we're just going to shadow drop it and be like, by the way, guys, here's a free multiplayer component. And I feel like, in a way, it's like, I don't know. It's different because, again, Ghost of Tsushima is a new IP. There is no expectation. It's not like people were expecting to play a co-op multiplayer experience with Ghost of Tsushima. With Halo, it's expected. That's the difference, man. Like, the expectation has been set. That's all I'm trying to say. The expectation has been set. I guess you could say that the Halo and Last of Us situation are somewhat similar, but again, I have to emphasize this. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Naughty Dog, I need you to tell me why you couldn't have that multiplayer ready. Why wasn't that multiplayer there? Day one, well, what type of quality level do you want from The Last of Us Part 2 story? I want the absolute highest bar of quality in the industry. I want it as high as it can possibly be. Well, then we're not going to be able to have it ready. Like, we're not going to be able to have it. We're just not. It's like, what do you want? We could sacrifice on the quality level of the campaign to an extent, because we're going to allocate more time and resources to the multiplayer. You see what I'm saying? And it's just like, this is where you have to understand that there's always going to be a price to pay. I have always tried to explain this to people. Everybody thinks that they're going to get everything and then some. You're not. You're going to have to pay the price in one area or another. In terms of Game Pass, getting your value, that's great. This is where you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay on the back end, where it's like, well, you're going to have to you're just going to have to swallow that pill, where if you were somebody who's looking forward to campaign co-op, but you're also somebody who loves the value of Game Pass, you're just going to have to bite the bullet and wait it out, because you can't sit there and raise your fist and say, how dare you, Microsoft? How dare you, 343? This is unacceptable. They're just going to turn to you and say, you're literally paying $10 a month to access this game. You're paying $10 to access this game. We're just going to launch it. All right. Just saying, man. It's like, you think you're going to see a game like The Last of Us Part 2? You think that they're just going to come out and be like, yeah, we just decided to drop the quality. Like, we weren't as picky about having it as refined as it could have been, because we just wanted to make sure we had this multiplayer ready to go. They're not going to do that. They're not. And I don't think anybody would want them to do that, if I had to guess. All right, let me get to some of these super chats. Zach, you're saying, yo, MBG, sending love from Canada. How have you been enjoying Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut? The DualSense integration is so immersive. I haven't played it that long. I've only played it for a couple of hours, and it's worth noting I'm starting over from the very beginning. I just want to have like the full experience again. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to talk more in depth about that later on, because I do have some thoughts on it. But what I will say is I agree with you, man. The DualSense implementation is really good. I actually really like it. Kevin, you're saying, I can see your perspective, and that's valid. While I'm fine, I can see how Sony is being negligent to today's times and can be detrimental in morale. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing we do have to consider, Kevin, is that you do have to think of the times, how these days everything is happening so rapidly. There's like news every day on something, and it's just the times. It's just the time we live in. So Sony isn't really partaking in that in the same way as, you could say, other corporations or other companies. But yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes when you really sit down and you reflect on like, well, what has Sony done good? What have they done well? It becomes clear that actually they've done a lot of things really well. They've done a lot of things really good. And it's like, my complaints start to feel kind of like, there are some valid complaints, yeah, but all in all, I'm not saying Sony's perfect, but it's all about a scale, Let me see here. We have London Prime. Thank you so much for that, buddy. Question mark, you're saying, with PlayStation, expect the unexpected. I like the surprise, so chillax, bro. Yeah, there is something to be said about everybody thinks that nothing's going to happen. Things are so quiet, it's low tide, and then suddenly Sony brings in the tsunami out of nowhere that nobody expected. I don't want to use, I don't like using that analogy, because that's like natural disasters, like they're a good thing. They're not. So maybe not that, but I guess you could say Sony just kind of, it's like a boxer in the ring. looking all tired, fatigued. They don't have it in them anymore. But then at like the last moment, they just, like, you know what? You think this is over? I'm going to come back with the haymaker that's going to end it. So, Shorty Faye, you're saying, thank you so much for that, man. You're saying people are so impatient and acting like you don't have anything to play on the PS5. Having the big exclusives is a bonus. When they talk, we will be here. As a content creator, I understand you need content, but others, chill out, wait. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not trying to fan the flames. I know I'm saying I'm not trying to. Meanwhile, I actually am. I'm not trying to fan the flames of like saying everybody be impatient, everybody rage and at Sony and say we need an event. It's just I can only speak for myself, and there is just naturally going to be a portion of the gaming community that agrees with what I had to say. So if I say I feel like Sony's being too quiet and I feel like they should do an event tomorrow, very soon, others, some people will be like, no, dude, just chill, not a big deal. And then other people are gonna be like, actually, yeah, I do agree with that, but I agree. There's nothing wrong with being patient, right? Jerry here is saying like good things come to those who wait. I mean, look at Xbox fans, right? They've waited long enough and look at what they got, right? Look at what Xbox fans got. They waited for years and it's like now you're finally starting to get what you've been waiting for. A nice big E3, a ton of game announcements, the purchase of Bethesda, games that are coming out the end of this year, and a solid looking 2022 and 2023. It's like they waited and now good things are coming to them. So that's kind of how things work, right? Most of the time. Shorty Faye, again, you're saying I haven't even touched Ratchet yet because of games like Plague Tale and Scarlet Nexus. Let Sony talk when they are ready. I hear you, buddy. Kendall Fire 2022 or 22, you're saying Microsoft hasn't done anything yet. They have shown a ton of concept trailers for games that are like 4 years away. 2020 is still more Halo, Forza like always. Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie. That's more of maybe like a glass half empty perspective where it's like, yeah. I mean, that's the reality. But if you are a Halo and Forza fan, it's looking pretty good, right? It's looking pretty good. But if you're somebody who, like, I feel like the Xbox fans who stayed true and like they just were like, I'm just gonna wait. Like, I'm not gonna go to PlayStation. I'm not gonna play those PlayStation games. I'm Xbox. I bleed green. Like, truly, I feel like those guys, yeah, they're feeling good because they're seeing the turnaround and it's like they've been waiting for this. And I get that. And they, they're entitled to that. So, but from my perspective, yeah, it really is kind of like, well, there still is some waiting involved regardless, no matter what. Straight from VA1, you're saying Sony generally avoids the holiday season with their exclusives outside of 2020 because they released a new console. Yeah, that is true. I've been seeing people say that a lot recently where it's like, that is true, isn't it? Sony does kind of avoid the holiday season with their games. It kind of makes sense if you think about it. There's so many juggernaut games launching in the holiday season. It's like, do you want to try to compete with them? I mean, Sony could compete with them for sure. But it's like, wouldn't it just kind of be better to drop some of these games when like, there's not 10 other different games releasing in 3 weeks of one another? So I do kind of understand that is the way Sony operates. That's why I think, guys, that's why I'm telling you, I think that's going to be Sony's new formula. Okay? You actually just made me think of this. I think Sony's new formula, and I could be wrong about this, but I could see them going forward being like, we're going to release games throughout the year leading up to the holiday season, throughout the summer, the spring, the winter. And then when we get to the holiday season, the fall, and then all this stuff's happening, all those big AAA games are coming out at one time. You got your Call of Duties, whatever, the whole thing, Battlefields, and the GTA 5s for like the 7th time, whatever. I feel like Sony's going to be like, that's when we're going to have our event. And if you think about it, that's kind of genius, because if you don't want to compete in that space, but you want to remain relevant in that space, that's what you do. And so that's why a December PlayStation experience would make total sense. Don't release any games in November and December, but instead have your event. So you stay relevant, you keep the people talking about you, and you get people excited for the year ahead. That could be the way they decide to go about it. Because what you're saying is true, is traditionally Sony does not really release their major AAA games in like the October, November, December timeframe. At least it doesn't seem like they have been recently. So I don't know. That could be what Sony wants to do. Strong Jawline Herman, again, you're saying Halo should be given to Naughty Dog so they could fix it and have an amazing story. Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen. The Aaron F, you're saying, why do you keep bringing up Xbox on a PlayStation podcast? We talk about Xbox here all the time, man. I mean, like, look, it's a PlayStation-centric podcast, but, like, the idea that we're not going to talk about Xbox, what? You know, that's like, I mean, it's the competition, man. Sony and Xbox, they're in competition. They always will be. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why people are like, don't ever bring up Xbox. Like, I'm going to talk about Xbox. Like, it's going to happen. All right? It's going to happen. I think there's a little bit of lag there. General Angst, you're saying just built a gaming PC, got Game Pass. First month is $1, and it's kind of cool. Microsoft Flight Sim is on it. Not utterly, sorry, I can't read. Not utterly blown away, but PlayStation Plus needs to catch up. Yeah, I think Sony's 100% going to be doing something with PlayStation Plus in the not too distant future. I think they will be. Chris B, you're saying Xbox was happy with it being released in 2020 until after the outcry of fans. With Forge and Co-op not ready 12 months ago, what's going on at 343, and why did Xbox think it was ready last year? Well, I think that Microsoft is having a difficult time. Look, this is just the nature of the beast. Microsoft has so many studios to manage now, and 343, I don't know, man. It just seems like they have been having some issues for quite some time. Maybe those issues got cleaned up, but by the time they got cleaned up, it was like, how long have you guys been working on this game? How long have these issues been persisting? It's like 4 years plus. It's like, okay, like things need to change. Things need to clean up. I don't know, though. Like, that's the thing about the whole Halo thing is, from what I hear from Halo fans, it's really good. You know what I mean? It's like people are saying, if you're a Halo fan, you're going to love this game. And that's what matters more than anything at the end of the day, you know? But there's no denying that the entire development process and situation, the way that, you know, even if Halo, in the end, all that's going to matter is if Halo ends up being a good game. But you do have to acknowledge that, like, what were all of these crazy issues that they were having with development? Like, what is, you know, and you have to assume that if Halo does launch in a good state and people love it when it launches, even if it is missing some features, you have to say at that point, well, I guess they corrected whatever problems they had, you know, and hopefully that's the case. But yeah, man, it seems like Halo it's had some development issues, you know, so I don't know. We'll see if it makes that big comeback that, you know, fans have been waiting for and wanting it to for a long time. Brain cells on fire saying don't care about Halo, but it's nice to see Xbots get a taste of their own medicine. They blow everything negative for PS5 out of proportion. Enjoying this. Yeah, that's true too, man. I mean, all throughout this year, I've been kind of saying like, look, I know there's been some negative news for PlayStation, which we have to acknowledge and look at it for what it is. But you know, you have this portion of gamers who are like, PlayStation's absolutely on fire. PlayStation's done. RIP PlayStation. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, what? Really? Is it all that? And that's why it's like, it's hard to not get that way if you're somebody who has been witnessing this stuff when you see stuff like this, because it's like, it's not defensible. You know what I mean? Like, you can't defend their decision to just remove features that are expected to be there. You don't have to freak out about it. Like, you can be like, that sucks, but it's whatever. I'm still going to play it. I'll look forward to it. That's perfectly reasonable. But you can't sit there and be like, this is great. Like, this is fine. This is how it should be. Like, no, it shouldn't. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the whole thing with Ghost of Tsushima and paying for the upgrade. It's like, I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I want it to be free. I would love Sony to be like, here's your Ghost of Tsushima upgrade, totally free, right? Like, that's great. That would be ideal. I would love that. It's, you want me to pay $10? Like, that sucks. I'd prefer not to, but no big deal. You know, I'm still going to play it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get that upgrade. You see what I'm saying? It's like, we don't have to freak out over everything and make it sound like we don't have to be doomers all the time about every little thing. All right. But we can also be critical and calm at the same time. You see, that's the key, is like, you can be critical, but you can be calm. You don't have to make it seem like the sky's falling over stuff like that. Now you would say I want to support the devs. I mean, is that not supporting the devs? I'm just saying, man, like, I'm not the one who said that. You're the one who said that. But is that wrong? Like, are you not, if you choose to pay that $10 for the Ghost of Tsushima upgrade, are you not supporting the devs? Whether you feel it's worth it or not, that's for you to decide. But I'm just saying, is that not supporting the devs? Speclizer, thank you for that, buddy. Speclizer, I think you were the one who did the Last of Us data mine, right? Possibly alluding to a potential battle royale for The Last of Us. By the way, guys, hit that like button for me. We're almost at 400 likes. Can we get to 500 likes? I'd appreciate that. Straight Edge, you're saying any news on The Last of Us Part 2 coming to the PS5? I haven't heard anything. It seems likely it will at some point, but I haven't heard anything. So sorry about that, man. And then we have Fahad. You're saying, was video games more passionately created in the past, or have I lost interest in gaming? Yeah, that's an interesting question you bring up, man. I mean, I want to say that it's only natural as you get older to lose interest in certain things. But I don't, it could also be that maybe you're a little bit disillusioned because, yeah, there is no doubt that there are these games where it's like, it just comes off like you're not, there's no passion here. You know what I mean? Like, this is just, what is this? This is just a cookie cutter, like, give us all your money. We want to extract literally as much money out of you as possible. And there's just zero passion at all. I mean, let's be honest, like, we all understand that these companies want our money. They want to extract as much money from us, but you can do that while inserting passion as well. You know, you can do that in a passionate way, I guess, if you let the devs do what they want to do. But I don't know, man. It's a tough call. I feel like that's a question, honestly, only you can answer for yourself. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I want to talk a little bit more about this whole blue box thing and abandon, because we have to put a bow on it, man. We do. We have to put a bow on this. A lot of people have been asking me, they're like, dude, you need to keep going. You need to keep talking about this. And it's like, what can I say? What can I say about Blue Box and Abandoned at this point? I did a stream last week where we went over the interviews in depth, and my God, nothing was cleared up. Nothing was cleared up. And I still think, I mean, I'm done with it, but I still think the whole thing is weird as hell. Like, I just can't fathom it. I can't fathom it. I can't fathom that this was just allowed to happen and happen the way it did. And this is how it's ending. Like, is this really it? But I see a lot of people saying it's over, man. It's over. I'm not saying it isn't over. Relax, man. Relax. Relax, people. I'm not going to sit here and say it's Kojima. I'm telling you, I'm not. No, that's not what I'm doing. It's over. I agree. It's over, man. And I have let it go. I have let it go, man. I just feel like it's necessary for me, again, like, end of the week podcast. I mean, the week's technically over, but you know what I mean. Sunday podcast, wrapping up everything that happened throughout the week. It just, you know, I hope that at this point, I don't even know if anything else is going to happen. You know, like Hassan, in his interview, he's like, we are going to deliver the content. We still got the app. Like, I still have the app on my PS5, and I like forgot it was there. And I'm like, this is still, like, this is a thing that just exists on my PS5. And, like, am I going to, you know, I clicked on it one more time, and I'm looking at the content that's going to be like more trailers and stuff, the playable prologue. And I'm like, I mean, bring it just bring it. I guess, you know, I'll play it. I'll check it out. I'll see I mean, at this point I have to, right? Like, I got to see what this is going to end up being regardless. But I don't know. I guess what this the only thing that happened, and this I'm gonna be honest, like that's pretty much all I can say about Blue Box. Like I can't say anything more about it. It's over. It's done. They came out. Hassan came out. He's like, yeah, this isn't. It was. We messed up. We messed up. It's like, okay, wow. I can't believe this game was like trending last week. You know what I mean? And like now it's just like, my bad, messed that one up. Like, yeah. But what I do want to talk about, and this has nothing to do with Blue Box, I need to make that clear. I want to talk for a second about Herman Hulst name dropping Kojima Productions and FromSoftware again, because we had all these rumors, right? Like, it's been rumored for a little while that apparently FromSoftware is working on a PS5 exclusive. It's not Bloodborne 2, but it's a Souls-like game. It's going to be a new IP. And it's like, this doesn't sound shocking. This doesn't sound surprising. That actually just sounds like it makes sense. Like you would expect that. You know what I mean? But we heard it from different sources previously. Now we're hearing it from the individual. He is the insider known as Special Nick, I think his name is. And he's been correct. He has a solid track record. And so I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking to myself, like, well, there were a bunch of rumors about a From Software thing with Sony, and now we're getting essentially confirmation from an insider, you know, if they're to be believed, that yeah, this is real. But they're letting us know it's not Bloodborne 2, it's going to be a Souls game. I just can't think, I'm like, there's been so many rumors. Again, this has nothing to do with Blue Box. I just need to say that because I know people are going to think that that's what I'm talking about, and I'm not. This is completely separate. If anything, I'm referring to Death Stranding Director's Cut, but there have been so many rumors that Sony has been trying to do something with Kojima, right? Sony, Kojima, Xbox. And it's like, well, which is it? Like, what? I want to know at this point. You know, Jeff Keighley's hosting Gamescom, and I'm supposed to believe that Kojima's not going to be there? Really? Isn't it like Kojima's birthday or something? But my whole thing is like, what is up with Herman Hulst name dropping Kojima Productions twice? Okay, we got Herman Hulst. Like, why? Here's what I need to emphasize. I understand that some people might be like, well, he's clearly referring to Death Stranding Director's Cut. Guys, why in God's name, in 2 interviews with Herman Hulst, would he name drop 2 Japanese game creators that that PlayStation is not still working with? You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, why would Herman Hulst be like, yeah, we work, you know, it's the same team that worked with Kojima Productions. Why would he say that if he knew that the next announcement from Kojima is going to be, yeah, I'm with Xbox? Am I stretching it? I might be, dude. I'm not saying I'm not. I could be. It just, to me, it's like, like, why are you saying, like, you know what I mean? There is always the chance, by the way, that the reason why he's doing that is because Kojima's next game is multi-plat. You know, Kojima's been, you know what's interesting? Kojima's been really enjoying that game 12 minutes on Xbox. And he's like, I want to make another this makes me want to make another adventure game. And so it's like, I don't know what's going on anymore. Like, I don't, no one knows. No one knows, man. See, here's the thing. Somebody out there knows. Somebody out there 100% knows. But I don't know. I guess at this point, with this, the whole abandoned situation and the conspiracy theories and whatnot, I got to tell you guys, and I'm sure you feel the same way, I don't even care what happens next. Right? What I care is, like, I just need to know at this point what the hell is going to happen. Like, what is actually going on with Kojima? You know what I mean? Because this whole thing has been bizarre, insane, and frankly, kind of ridiculous. And it's like, so what is, like, don't you guys feel a certain way at this point. Like, the way I'm left feeling is like, holy hell. Like, there's just nothing. Just darkness, just blank. So I'm just, even Phil, like, can somebody at Xbox, for the love of God, somebody at Xbox, you guys would know, Xbox can't stop stuff from leaking. Xbox has a new leak every other day. And I know that the last thing we heard was like Kojima is signing, he signed a letter of intent, or he was going to. Can somebody there, Jeff Grubb, I don't care. What is going on with this? Because I just want to put it to bed, man. That's all. And I also just want to know if Kojima's next game is going to be with Xbox, because if it is, I'm going to buy a freaking Xbox to play it. More than likely. I mean, maybe I'll play it on my PC. I don't do PC gaming. So I'll probably buy it. But this is what I'm just saying. Like, it's at this point, I just want to know what's going on with Hideo Kojima, because I don't think, I have a question for you guys. Chat, I really want to know what you think about this, because this is something we actually haven't talked about. Would Sony give Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions, would they give him a director's cut for Death Stranding if they thought it did poorly, or if they weren't going to publish or, be part in some way of his next game? I'm seriously wondering, because, like, you look at Ghost of Tsushima, like, that does make sense. It's like, well, let's try to resell the game so we can get more sales and more money. That makes sense. But then you look at Ghost of Tsushima, it's like, well, that game sold incredibly well. That game killed. And they gave that a director's cut. Like, what I'm saying is, the only other director's cut we know of is for a successful game, a hugely successful game. You might hear my stomach growling, by the way. I'm hungry. And that's what I'm thinking about right now, because it's like, I don't know, man. Would they do that? Do we believe that Kojima's not going to be at Gamescom? At this point, I'm just seeing what the chat's going to say. Do we think Kojima's not going to be at Gamescom? I feel like there's no possible way that Kojima isn't at Gamescom. Here's what's weird, though. See, you guys agree too. Everybody's saying, like, he's gonna be at Gamescom. How could he not be? Why? Like, is it supposed to be a surprise? Because if you go check, is Kojima listed? I'm about to go check real quick. Hold on. I want to go check. Gamescom 2021 partners. I want to see. I'm pretty sure he's not listed. I'm looking now. Kojima. We have Konami. No Kojima Productions. So let me check their other partners. Indie partners. Would he be under indie? He's not here. No, he's not here at all. Yeah, Kojima's, something, I'm telling you, man, I think something's up. You're saying he won't be there? He might not be. He's not listed, but Kojima retweeted an opening night live tweet. Yeah, I don't know, man. So here's a question I have for you guys. Summer Games Fest, right? Summer Games Fest happened on June 10th. Kojima made a surprise appearance where he talked about his next game a little bit, very ambiguously, and he showed off the Death Stranding teaser trailer. Was it listed that he was going to be, that Kojima was going to be there? that Kojima Productions would be. Because I could probably check that, actually. Because I feel like that'll let us know. Summer Game Fest partners. Let's see. Well, okay. Actually, you know what? That's where it gets tough because Sony, you know what? I answered my own question. Sony was listed as a partner. So technically, yeah, like they didn't specifically say Kojima Productions, but we got Death Stranding director's cut. So that's technically Sony. I saw you're saying The Last of Us 2 director's cut, make it happen, MBG. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm definitely going to stream Gamescom opening night live. I'm just so curious. Like, you know what I'm a little bit confused about? Not confused, but I feel like it's weird that Jeff Keighley's having this event and Kojima has been he's been beavering away on his launch trailer. The Kojima cut for the launch trailer for Death Stranding, director's cut. And wouldn't it make sense for him to show it off at Gamescom? I don't know. I feel like that would make a lot of sense. Well, anyway, there's not, that's the whole thing. Blue Box is done. Abandoned's done. That was a whole fiasco. That's over now. At this point, anybody who is a fan of Hideo Kojima and has been following his stuff, you just kind of want, you just want to see, you want to know, like, well, what's he doing next? I'm excited for whatever he does next, regardless. But let me see here what else we have to talk about. We pretty much covered the Halo thing. Yeah, so apparently Twisted Metal is coming back. Apparently that's a thing that's happening. Wipeout's coming back and Sly Cooper's coming back. If all these rumors are to be believed. Do you guys think this is true? I feel like a lot of it makes sense. I believe Twisted Metal for sure. They have a Twisted Metal TV show. So that's in production. So it only makes sense. Make a game. The question is who's making it? Could Lucid make it? Lucid made Destruction All-Stars. And I feel like for as much crap as that game gets, I feel like anybody who played it, including myself, you're like, why didn't they just make a Twisted Metal? And so I'm thinking maybe that's who they got to do it. Maybe. It's a big maybe. I don't know. Apparently David Jaffe isn't aware of this. Although some people were saying that the reason why David Jaffe is saying he doesn't know about it is because if he did, he couldn't say he knows about it. He would be under an NDA. So, but he claims that he doesn't know about it. JD TV is saying if you could choose one Xbox exclusive game to play on PlayStation, which would it be? For me, it's Sea of Thieves. Thinking of buying it, an Xbox 2. For me, it's going to be State of Decay 3. I mean, I want it to be Hellblade 2, but I don't know, man. Like, I just love the concept of State of Decay. I loved the first game. The second game, it was good, but it definitely didn't live up to its potential. And the idea that they're a first-party studio now under Microsoft, they're probably going to be working on State of Decay 3 for like another 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, if they can make it everything they want it to be, oh, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love to play that on PlayStation. Wild Hour. I don't know. Does that answer surprise you? I feel like a lot of people probably weren't expecting that. Wild Hour, the Game Cat. Hey, MBG. People who have both consoles will be playing more PlayStation than Xbox. VR2, I spend 90% on PlayStation. Game Pass is twice the price of PS Plus. Game on. Yeah. Well, man, for me, like, I haven't had a desire to play on Xbox. Not yet, anyway. There's nothing that has happened yet. The closest thing is Forza Horizon 5. But, I think about games like Hellblade 2 and State of Decay 3, and I'm like, yeah, I want to play those games, but I don't know. I just got my 20th Platinum, guys. Like, I'm in the PlayStation ecosystem now, man. Like, I'm fully invested. I got my 20th platinum. That platinum was Outriders, believe it or not. It was Outriders. That game, you know what? I put 51 hours into Outriders and I platinumed it. And it was worth the price, dude. It was worth the price of the game. It wasn't half bad. It got kind of addicting. Like, I started to get on that grind and I'm like, okay, I can platinum this. So I did. You're saying State of Decay 2 was trash. Dude, I don't think it was trash, but it was like, it could have been so much more. Can I show you my trophy collection? Maybe eventually. Maybe eventually we could do something like that. But yeah, I'm totally invested in the Xbox ecosystem. That's where I get my platinums. No, I'm totally invested in the PlayStation ecosystem now, man, where it's like, I'm all about buying these games physically, collecting them, and, you know, platinuming games. Like, I want to platinum Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut now. I want to platinum any game that I can. I platinum Bloodborne. I did not platinum Bloodborne, no, unfortunately. But yeah, 20 platinums. I'm not like a crazy trophy hunter. Like, for me, I just want to platinum games that I enjoy, you know? I don't want to be like, well, I got to platinum as many as I can as quickly as I can. I just don't like that. But yeah, man, I don't know. You mentioned VR, Wild Hour. You mentioned VR, and I'm like, that's a whole thing Sony has my thing with VR is I'm nervous about it. I'm nervous about it when it comes to, like, is it going to be a thing that people are excited about? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. When I talk about VR on my channel, very few people care. Very few people care. Like, anytime I make a dedicated, like, PSVR news video or anytime there's an update, it doesn't do very well. And I feel like that could be because, you know, it's just one of these things where you have to see it first. But I do get worried that, like, you know, Sony is investing so heavily in VR. I'm excited. I'm really excited for the new iteration of it. I just hope it doesn't flop, you know? Because I feel like if it flops, I don't think they're gonna continue to pursue it. But it could be amazing, you know. This could be, if it sounds like the next version of the PSVR is going to be insanely substantial. Like, it's going to be a huge leap forward, man. Like, you're talking about, like, from like the PS1 to like the PS3 potentially. Like, that's how big of a leap. Maybe that's some hyperbole there, but I feel like that's the thing that could really carry VR, where it's like, yeah, you know, this is huge, man. Like, and maybe it'll blow up. I feel like everybody was waiting for VR to be the thing. You know what I mean? To be the thing. And it didn't happen yet. So, sorry, one sec, guys. Primal Plasma, you're saying, I'm a PSVR fan, but I remember letting a woman friend try it out, and as soon as she put on the headset, she instinctively threw it across the room. Dude, yeah, seeing the VR fails, oh my God. Just go YouTube VR fails. People literally running into their walls, smashing into their TVs. It's the greatest thing ever. It really is. VR can be dangerous, man. It can be dangerous. Don't let it fool you. But yeah, dude, I don't know. For me, VR, I think, does have the potential to be the future, because you imagine playing a game like let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think. Let's say, you know, the next God of War, right? Like, what if you could play that in VR? You know, I know it's a third-person game, but still. Saying you played Heartland DLC for 50 hours. It's OP. Try. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Right now, the only thing I'm going to be playing for a little bit is probably Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who decided to just start from the very beginning again with Ghost of Tsushima? I feel like I'm one of the only ones. I couldn't help it. Am I going to play Death Stranding Director's Cut? I don't know. I feel like maybe, yeah. I feel like I don't know. The problem with Death Stranding Director's Cut is it's releasing when Deathloop and Kenna Bridge of Spirits come out. So it's like, I'm gonna be fighting. Rashdam, you're saying, in my opinion, you're missing out on a lot of games if you play games just for trophies. You should play games that interest you regardless of platform. No, I agree. I'm not, see, that's the thing. I'm not saying I avoid games just because, if I can't play it on PlayStation, I can't get trophies. It's not that. Like, it's just, it makes it so that they have to really, if anything, it makes it easier for me to sort because they have to really be games that I really want to play. You know what I mean? Like, they have to be just games I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I just want to play these games. See. Just checking my... Okay, so... Yeah, I just wanted to spend a couple minutes real quick talking about this data mine that happened. So, what's interesting, like, I'm starting to wonder, do you guys think that The Last of Us multiplayer could flop? I'm asking this question seriously because I know I can only go based off of what people are telling me, but when I talked about The Last of Us potentially having a battle royale, oh my God. Like, people are like, no. And I don't know, man. Like, I have like hundreds of hours in PUBG, and I'm like, dude, I know a lot of PlayStation diehards, they don't want to hear this, but The Last of Us would be absolutely stellar if it had a battle royale. Here's the thing though. I don't think they should have a dedicated battle royale. Like, this is The Last of Us multiplayer. It's a big battle royale. Like, not like PUBG, not like Fortnite. I'm talking like they should have, I want The Last of Us multiplayer. What I want from it, I want it to be like one of these games, like The Division or like Destiny or whatever. Like, I know it's like, oh, a service game, but like there's PvE, there's PvP, there's outposts. You can create your character. You know what I mean? And then also have a big battle royale game mode too with it. That's what I want. Siler, again, you're saying The Last of Us having battle royale would make sense with the gameplay and the whole survival thing. Dude, that's why I'm saying, man. That's why I'm saying, like, it would make, dude, a Last of Us, I promise you, hundreds of Last of Us fans, not hundreds, I don't know why I'm saying hundreds, millions of Last of Us fans who, if they'd be like, oh my God, a battle royale Last of Us, please, God, no. I promise you, if that's something Naughty Dog makes and they go try it out, they're gonna be like, yo, this is amazing. I'm telling you. That would be sick. Don't knock it until you've tried it. Yeah. Saying you think the Resident Evil Twitter just teased Resident Evil 4 remake? Did they? Really? Yo, do you think Sony could try to lock up some timed exclusivity for Resident Evil 4 remake? I think they could. I could see that happening. I could see that. Jarvie, you're saying a DayZ like Last of Us game and you have to use clickers against other players, survivors. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I didn't even think of that. Battle Royale, survival multiplayer with Last of Us where there's clickers in the map. Oh man, that would be amazing. See, this is what, like, I am beginning to realize that I know I keep saying it, but I have to keep saying it because of how long it's going on where we're not seeing even a single sliver of this game. Dude, this game, this Last of Us multiplayer game, I think it's going to just shock people, dude. I could be wrong. I don't want to overhype it, but it's been in development for this long. I mean, what are they making over there, man? How big are they going with this multiplayer? You saying it can't be $70? I think the only way they could make a standalone Last of Us multiplayer game and sell it at $70 is if they basically do like a Last of Us Part 2 director's cut where you can get it packaged together, or you could buy both separately. I could see that happening. You know what I mean? That's the only way, because I don't know. Maybe they could get $70 out of it. It really depends, dude. People might not want to hear this. They don't want to hear this, but I'm just, again, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm going to be honest. Depending on how massive this of an undertaking, like keep in mind, dude, if you look at job listings for Naughty Dog, look at the job listings for Naughty Dog and read what they're saying about multiplayer. They're literally letting people know that this is the same size, scale, and scope as a normal AAA game for them. It's just multiplayer this time. So I don't know, man. Like, depending on what's there, Sony might want to charge $70 for it. They might. It really depends. You're saying it needs to be free to play. I could see it going in the opposite direction too. Maybe they're like, no $70. If Sony wants their own Fortnite and they do care more about engagement than anything, and this game is obviously going to have microtransactions, cosmetics more than likely. I think it will just be cosmetics if they're smart. Yeah, that could be Sony's brutal. You know, I don't want to say Fortnite because I can't stand Fortnite, but you think of like the massive overwhelming success of Fortnite, it being free to play and multiplayer. Essentially, I think Sony wants to use The Last of Us to try to get. They'll never get to that level with The Last of Us. Like, we got to be honest right now. We got to be honest. A Last of Us, like, if they want to keep the same, like, unless they make it like a cartoon version, which they couldn't and they wouldn't, it's not going to ever reach the same heights. But I think Sony believes that they could find incredible success with potentially a free-to-play multiplayer Last of Us game. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to release on PS4. It's going to release on PC. I could see it releasing on PC day and date. I know people don't want to hear that, but I think it could be an exception because it's a multiplayer game, a free-to-play multiplayer. PK, you're saying you should play Bloodborne DLC already and stream it. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been too long. I'm going to wait. I'm still holding out for a Bloodborne, I don't know if you want to call it a director's cut, but a Bloodborne remaster. I'm still holding out for that, man. So I'm going to wait to see if that's real. I'm not saying that a Last of Us game would flop, even if it's multiplayer. I'm just saying that, like, I just don't think it could, I don't think it could be, like, reach the same heights as, say, something like Fortnite, because Fortnite has that childlike appeal to it where it's so accessible. In The Last of Us, you're, like, probably going to literally be, like, absolutely obliterating other human beings. You know what I mean? So it's, like, in the most violent way. Devil Shooter saying MBG, the exception will become the rule. Yeah, dude, that's where you gotta be a little concerned. So here's what I always say to people. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want Sony to go in the multiplayer. I don't want multiplayer. Sony can't do that. I'm so scared. And I'm like, no. It'll be exciting. Like, we can have a healthy balance of both. We can have a healthy balance of some multiplayer games. And we can have a healthy balance of some, high quality single player titles. But where the concern arises is if Sony's trying to strike gold, if Sony is like, we want our own Fortnite, we want our own GTA Online. That's what I'm going to say. GTA Online, not Fortnite. I feel like GTA Online is more realistic for what Sony could strive for. We want our own GTA Online, as in we want our own service-like multiplayer game that just destroys. Like, we don't have to, you know what I mean? It just makes money. It prints money. The concern becomes if Sony achieves that, how does that alter their philosophy going forward? Because let's be honest, Sony has never achieved that. Sony has never achieved a huge, monumental, successful service-like multiplayer game. And with Jim Ryan running the ship, if they did, what happens? Do single-player games take a back seat? Is the new priority, like, let's make even more games like this? What happens? What we don't want to happen is, and this is where I get scared, genuinely, because look at Take-Two, man. Look at Rockstar. Look at how, like, they used to produce games all the time, and they used to produce single-player games too. And when they found this success, man, with GTA Online, they're just like, well, we'll just let it print money. We don't have to do anything. And it's like, oh my God, I absolutely do not want that to happen. I want Sony's multiplayer endeavors to be moderately successful. I want them to be successful, but not like GTA Online or Fortnite successful, because then, like you said, the exception becomes the rule. Jeff B. Gaming, you're saying, MBG, what about PvE battle royales like the Hunt Showdown? I actually never played the Hunt Showdown. I've heard good things about it, and I don't know, like, I've watched some gameplay of it, and I'm like, yeah, I could see a Last of Us game, a Last of Us Battle Royale game mode being more similar to that, right? Where maybe it's not about the massive player count, but it's more focused on less players, more strategy, but also having to take the environment into an account. That would actually stay more true to what The Last of Us actually is, you know what I mean, than just like 150 players slaughter each other in an arena, and you know what I mean, in The Last of Us. So yeah, let me see here. So yeah, you know, there's not really too much I can say about it. The data mine is interesting. The data mine with this Last of Us Part 2, it heavily implies that they were thinking about making a Last of Us 2 Battle Royale mode. Maybe they were going to try to make that the multiplayer. Somebody's car alarm went off out there. And maybe they ported that over, they brought that over to what they're trying to do now with The Last of Us multiplayer, dedicated multiplayer game that they're doing. So, yeah, I mean, Herman Hulst, you know, he makes it clear, and I know that Herman Hulst gets a lot of crap, but one thing I do like about what he's saying in his interviews is he's like, look, we are working on all different types of games. You know, I think people are going to absolutely love Herman Hulst if games like Twisted Metal, Sly Cooper, you know, Wipeout, and who knows what else, right? SOCOM, like, I think people are going to absolutely be like, dude, Herman is the man if we find out these games are coming back, right? And then we're also getting new games too. And I think that that's where people need to understand, is that like Sony does have this massive back catalog of games that they can continue to bring out and do stuff with. Maybe not with their first party studios, right? Like, I don't think Sucker Punch is going to make a Sly Cooper game. Sucker Punch is going to make another Ghost of Tsushima. But that doesn't mean they couldn't find somebody else to make a Sly Cooper game that could make a great one, you know? And why wouldn't Sony do that? Billy Too Smooth, thank you so much, man. You're saying, MBG just tuned in, bro. Did you play the Tales of Arise demo yet? It went from hell no, not on my radar, to almost sure bet for Game of the Year. Also, we getting a Sony event. It's looking very bleak. Well, I'll let you know, Billy Too Smooth. We talked all about whether or not Sony's going to have an event or whether they're going to have a showcase in the first half of this podcast. So I'm not going to repeat it because we talked about it for like an hour. So look, you can come back and check it out when this podcast is over. It'll be there. But yeah, a lot of people have been telling me like I have to go try out Tales of Arise, but I'm not familiar with it. If what you're saying is true, man, if I don't know, if I find the time in between playing Ghost of Tsushima and creating my content to be able to try it out, maybe I'll have to, because a lot of people have actually been recommending that to me. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something I'll have to try. I mean, you're sitting here saying, you see, that's where you pique my interest with this, is you're saying it wasn't even on your radar. Like, you didn't even care about it. And then you tried it. And you're like, this could be a game of the year. That's where I am right now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even really know what it is. I'm not paying attention to it, but is it that good? A lot of people were talking about this Black Myth Wukong, I think it's Wukong game, saying it looks like incredible. And I watched some of the gameplay and I'm like, yeah, this looks really, really good. You got to wonder if like games like that, I think that's a Chinese made game. You got to wonder, like, should Sony try to see if they could like get involved with this studio? You know, people are really, really excited about that game. And it looks like the type of game that, you know, it looks like a Sony quality game from what people are saying, you know? So I don't know. MVG hates anime. I mean, I'm not into anime. I am not into anime. I'm not into anime, but you know, I'm not like against it. It's just not something, you know, that I'm into currently. But But yeah, you know, is Tales of Arise an RPG? I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Stay out of China. Look at John Cena. Yeah, dude, I'm not getting into that conversation. But yeah, I'm not liking what's going on with that stuff. But you know, I have to imagine that these developers who are making Black Myth, they're just passionate developers. Clearly, they're passionate. They just want to make a great game. And putting the politics of it aside, you know, they look like they made a great game. So, let me see here. Okay, so John China, yeah. I wanted to. Okay, so what I want to do real quick before I end the podcast, because I honestly I don't think I can go on that much longer. Oh yeah, Aliens Fire Team Elite. I saw that, dude. I think I'm gonna play that. I think I'm gonna play that game. That looks pretty good. It's only $40 too. Aliens Fire Team Elite. I always love my co-op shooter games, you know, which is weird because like this is why like people are always like, why haven't you played Halo? It's a co-op shooter. I tried to get into Halo years ago, and it just didn't click with me, man. It just didn't click with me. Zenarkand Blitzer, you're saying, hey, BG, love your streams and vids, especially when you're fired up in your rants and the facts and swears start flowing. First time I supported a YouTube channel. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I saw that you're a member too, so really appreciate it, buddy. I'm just, you know, look forward to the content. The thing is, if you're enjoying what I can tell any of my audience now is if you're enjoying the content now, maybe putting the blue box thing aside, then you're really going to enjoy the content going forward because things are down right now, man. Like things are down. There's not a whole lot going on. It's only going to go up from here in terms of like the amount of rants I could potentially have, the levels of hype and excitement. So yeah, things are a little bit calm. The waters are calm right now. But once things start picking up, they're going to be raging. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the support you guys show. What I want to talk about, the last topic, let's talk about Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. And before I do that, guys, we're so close to 500 likes. We have over 700 people here. I think we could get to 500 likes. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, what are we thinking about Ghost of Tsushima so far, the Director's Cut? Because for me, I really like it. I have to admit, and this is where I got to be totally brutally honest with you guys. I'm loving it, and it definitely feels like a next-gen upgrade, but I'm not as impressed like with the visual upgrade as I thought I would be. And it shocks me to say that, but the reason why I say this is because, yeah, I did pay for this upgrade, and the resolution is definitely crisper, and I love it. Like, this is the way to play Ghost of Tsushima. But it's like... I guess the reason why I feel this way is because I remember looking at Spider-Man Remastered, and visually, it seems like Spider-Man Remastered was a much more, like, it had a significantly, I don't know, just visually speaking, it just did a lot more. You know what I mean? And when I'm looking at Ghost of Tsushima, I'm like, well... It looks great. Like that's where it's tough because I'm not trying to take away from the visuals. The visuals look great, but it's like for a paid upgrade. I mean, yeah, the DualSense is great. The 3D audio is really good. I was playing with my headphones. It's actually really, really good. And it looks a lot crisper, and the frame rate's locked, which is great. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like looking at Spider-Man Remastered, I feel like there should be some ray tracing going on here. I feel like the assets should look a little more, you know, like redone. And I just feel like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like Insomniac kind of set the bar where it's like, well, if you're going to charge for an upgrade, because that was the thing. A lot of people were not happy with Insomniac charging for the upgrade. And a lot of people were like, this should be free. And then they like, showed you and you know, Digital Foundry did their analysis and they're like, no, this is like a complete overhaul, man. Like, you know, no holds barred, it's complete overhaul. And so it's like, you know, I have to say that because I am one of the people where I'm like, it's not a big deal paying $10, and it's still not. Like it's not a big deal. $10 is $10. Like I'm gonna pay it to get access to it because I want to play it. But when you start to see like, is this as impressive maybe as you were hoping? It's like, well, I mean, it looks great, but like just knowing that they charged for this when there have been some free upgrades that are like just as good. So yeah, it does kind of become like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know. But other than that, I'm really liking it. Like it feels, and here's the thing, I can't speak to the expansion yet either because I haven't played it. From what I've heard, everybody's telling me the expansion's amazing, and they're telling me that the expansion is totally worth the asking price. So, it's tough. Crispy, you're saying, yeah, Insomniac has spoiled us on PS5 visuals. They have. But, I'm going to be really interested to see what, like, when Sucker Punch does, say, Ghost of Tsushima 2, you have to, I mean, that's going to be a PS5 only game. At least you pray to God that it will be, right? What's that going to look like? That's what I want to know. You know what? Even talking about Insomniac, you look at Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, you got a pretty good idea of what a PS5 only Insomniac game looks like. So it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. But in general, I'm really liking, returning to the world of Ghost of Tsushima. I think this time around, I'm going to take my time even more so playing it than I did previously. I mean, even though I know I'm being a little bit harsh on the visuals, but I do want to make it clear that putting the how much I paid for it aside, visually speaking, Ghost of Tsushima is a top tier game. Like it's one of the best looking games you can play, and that I honestly think that's mainly due to the art style. When you play that opening sequence again in Ghost of Tsushima and you're riding the horse, and the the logo comes up for the game, it's pretty incredible, man. It's pretty incredible. There's not many games that really can pull that off, and so I am enjoying it. I totally forgot how utterly amazing the combat in Ghost of Tsushima is. It is like top tier, top level, best of the best in terms of just how fun and smooth the combat loop is. So I'm really enjoying it. They added a lock on, which is fantastic. I really appreciate that they did that. So I'm really enjoying it so far, man. I'll have to update you guys as I continue to play through it. And when I finally get to the expansion and I play through that, I'll definitely give you guys my thoughts on that. But so far, I'm really loving it. Jarvie, you're saying, I probably missed you talk about it, but it's Uncharted, The Lost Legacy's 4-year anniversary. My second favorite Uncharted game. My first is Uncharted 4. So I actually never played Lost Legacy, believe it or not. But yeah, it's been what? So I guess it's been 4 years since it came out. I don't really know too much about that game, as I said, because I haven't played it. A lot of people said I should. I don't know, though. I don't know. iSiler18, you're saying 9 hours in Icky Island already. It really feels like a whole game. God of War, Ghost, and The Last of Us can't look any better, in my opinion. Hell, The Last of Us 2 looks next gen, last gen, lol. Yeah, I guess it's just, again, like, for me, the only aspect to Ghost of Tsushima that just I can tell like this was a PS4 game, because yeah, it is one of the best looking games, but it's the assets, honestly. It's some of the assets, like they just look not as refined or just not as like up to par to what you would expect from a native PS5 game. And that could be because they just didn't have the time to do it. But again, it's like if you're going to charge for it, I don't know. I look at again, Spider-Man Remastered, and there is a disparity there. There is. And it's tough for me to say that because I love Ghost of Tsushima, man. Like that's the only negative thing I have to say, but in general, like, yeah, there's no ray tracing. I would have loved, see, that's the thing I would have loved to see. Could you just imagine what Ghost of Tsushima would look like with some ray tracing in there? Oh my God. That would be incredible, but I guess we'll have to wait for Ghost of Tsushima 2. But we have Chris Beer saying, are you using the new Souls style control scheme? I'm not actually. Is that a thing? Hold on, is that a thing? I might have to try that. I'll have to look into that. I didn't even know that was a thing. I've been using just the regular control scheme. I didn't know they added a Souls style. That might be right up my alley because I love Souls games, so I'll have to try that. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of the podcast. it's been a very, very quiet, mundane week when it comes to PlayStation. So, next week we do have Gamescom to look forward to, and I don't know whether or not Sony's going to be there at all. I don't know if Sony plans on having anything significant to say for the rest of August. We might just have to go through the rest of August, just kind of, chilling out, enjoying some Ghost of Tsushima, and waiting for September to roll around. And, we'll have to see if Sony has any plans for September. AWS Asher, you're saying Ghost of Tsushima has changed my style of gameplay, actually. It has helped me make better plays on shooters the way of the Samurai for the win. Loving it first playthrough. Yeah, dude. The combat, you got to be on point with your combat, man. Like, I'm just playing it on normal difficulty, and I died like multiple times within the first couple hours because I wasn't respecting the timing of parrying and the combat and how twitchy it actually can be, and in some cases needs to be. So I agree, man. It definitely, it's not as easy as it may look, and it's not as easy as I remember. So, that's one of the other, I want to say this too before I go. That's one of the other reasons why I decided to kind of just start the game over again, because I heard that it's actually the Icky Island expansion is pretty difficult. Like, it ups the difficulty a little bit, because I guess they're expecting a lot of people to play the main game and then play that. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe you can let me know if that's true, but I just figured I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to just get reacquainted with this entire game. So, but yeah, guys, that pretty much does it. That's, will I stream Gamescom opening night? Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely plan to stream Gamescom live. I'm hoping there will be some good announcements, man. Some good surprises. I hope Xbox has something exciting. They're doing something on the 24th. I don't know if I'm going to stream it. Maybe I will. But I hope they, I hope they have some announcements too. That'd be cool. You hope it's not cringy. Well, dude, I mean, come on. There's going to be some cringe. There always is. There has to be. It's part of the experience. Am I going to be streaming the Xbox event? I'm going to have to see. I'm going to have to look into what the expectations are for that event, and then I'll determine whether or not I'm going to. Hopefully some blue box info. I doubt it, man. You know what? I will say that, though. I will say, considering they have this app is on my PS5, and there's like multiple slots that need to be filled out with trailers and stuff, I wouldn't mind getting another trailer from Blue Box. I know that the whole fiasco is over, but if they show up and they're like, here's a trailer, we did it. We did it, guys. Sure. Sure. I'll take it. But I think a lot of people are looking at that app and they're like, yeah, nothing else is coming with that app, bro. Like, that, we're not getting anything else. I'm like, well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. So, all right, guys, that does it. That's episode 72 of Press X Podcast, PXP for short, in the bag. I hope at the very least you could enjoy some of the energy I brought to the stream here today, because, as I said, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. But I just have to say, I appreciate the support you guys continue to show, even at times like this when it's quiet, when things are down. I always appreciate those of you who show up. You continue to support. Appreciate all the super chats, all my members. You guys literally help fuel this channel and keep it going. And so we'll have to see what this upcoming week brings. But with that being said, I'm going to go. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Hope everybody, takes care of themselves. And yeah, I'll be back here, same place, same time, hopefully next week. Is it still, let me check here. Is it still going to be August? Yeah, so it's going to be August 29th. I'll be back here. And, if everything goes according to plan, episode 73. So until next time, guys, take care.